Whether you have a sports team, company, or charitable event and need custom t-shirts, hats, sweaters, or hoodies, ShopTotallyT-shirt.com can help. ShopTotallyT-shirt.com is the best in high-quality items at great affordable prices and top-notch customer service. ShopTotallyT-shirt.com. ShopTotallyT-shirt.com. One more time, ShopTotallyT-shirt.com. Check out DoBack.com. DoBack.com is a coupon and cashback site that has you covered with unbeatable deals. Upgrade your tech game without breaking the bank. Get access to exclusive deals and cashback offers on the latest gadgets and discounted tech. Calling all sports and music fans, score big with deals and cashback offers on the NFL, NHL, and NCAA tickets, as well as upcoming concerts by legendary artists like Def Leppard, Journey, Foo Fighters, Nicki Minaj. Don't miss out on your chance to experience the excitement live with help from DoBack.com. Still searching for that last-minute gift? DoBack.com has you covered. Find amazing deals with cashback offers on gifts for him, for her, or even the kids. Don't wait. Grab the perfect presents right now. Get ready to save and save big and enjoy the ultimate shopping experience. Don't miss out on these incredible deals and cashback offers. Start shopping right now. DoBack.com. That's DoBack.com. One more time, DoBack.com.
Rotella Resale, your premier collectibles, toys, and novelty retailer. Find the best and hard-to-find die-cast vehicles and action figures. Some of the most popular vinyl LPs, Zippo lighters, and comics. Support the best artists with our rock t-shirts and posters. You will find so much more at RotellaResale.com with free shipping on U.S. orders. Use promo code RADIO for 10% off your order. Visit RotellaResale.com. That is RotellaResale.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to
the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? For Wednesday night of February 21st, 2024, you're checking out episode number 1080 of the RCWR Show. Your man, Lee Sanders here. What's going on with you, my pretty babies? Middle of the week is here. Hump day. Weekend is right around the corner. Are y'all even excited for some of the wrestling events that's going to be going down this weekend, mainly with WWE really, you could say, putting that stamp mark on the whole weekend with their event? Or is that a case where, you know what, no, in the case of WWE, they are doing that just way too damn early, and before anybody says, well, not for nothing, but New Japan Pro Wrestling, and well, not all WWE fans are flocking to those other promotions that's airing those pay-per-views at those weird times of the morning, what may be regular hours for some people. So it's very interesting, to the point I got to give you guys a lot of props for those of you that have voted on the community poll up on YouTube. If you haven't seen it yet, youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click on the communities tab, and you'll be able to see. I basically asked for you all's help. I said, look, this is the situation. We got this pay-per-view coming on at 5 in the morning. 4 matches right now. Would you guys like me to do a post-show afterwards? Because I'll be around. I have to work in a few hours, but I could do a post-show. Or if you guys want, we can do an evening post show that Saturday night instead. And so far, a little bit over 70% of the votes are coming in. You guys want me to do a Saturday night post show beginning at 8 p.m. So if you haven't voted yet and you want your voices to be heard, go sound off and vote on that community poll when you guys get a chance. I would say the final tally for that, it's going to be this Friday. I'll say the cutoff time will be 4 p.m. Eastern. Again, 4 p.m. Eastern will be the cutoff time, FYI, for you guys, right? What did y'all think about tonight's AEW Dynamite? Sound off. Let me know what you guys had thought. No community poll. No community poll up asking about Dynamite. This was a show I was pretty much in and out of it. I did my best and to my credit, I watched probably the first, I would say, hour, 15 minutes, give or take. And then I just decided, you know what? Let me just hook my girls up, my furry daughters. You know, the three of them, they were looking at me like, Daddy, please, we're ready to eat. And it's kind of like, yeah, let me go ahead and feed these kids already. So I fed them, walked them, and then I started putting the final touches on the show and everything. I just lost interest. A lot of what I was seeing tonight, I just felt very disengaged, which is kind of weird because we're, over a week away from Sunday from their Revolution pay-per-view event. I should be to the moon and back excited and everything, but I'm not. And before a overzealous AEW fan or a passionate AEW fan jumps out there and says, oh, you're just an AEW hater, no, on the contrary, when they're doing it right, I don't care who the promotion is. When they're doing it right, I give them the praise. When they're doing it wrong, I pretty much am like, yeah, no, you can miss me with that. But no, this is a case where I wasn't excited. I wasn't excited for tonight's show, but I did my best to put those, no matter how I was feeling, I put those differences to the side. And I said, look, they're trying to build up towards the Revolution card. Let me just mainly focus on that, wrap my brain around that. But what I saw tonight, it just wasn't enough to keep my attention for the entire show, I must say. So I clocked out right a little bit after Wardlow had came out there. I know Wardlow was dropping subtle name drops left and right without mentioning people's names. I'm supposed to be the next big thing. Okay, so we got a Brock Lesnar reference right there. Okay, then we've got, who else did he reference in there without mentioning their names flat out? I believe he mentioned the voice of the voiceless, right? He mentioned CM Punk. However he referenced him, he did reference him. Then he mentioned MJF. Ultimately, it set him up to talking about Samoa Joe. But pretty much, when you got right down to the heart of the matter of all these subtle drops that he was making, his whole argument was every single time these people crossed his path, he pretty much dominated their asses. And the same thing was the case for our current AEW World Champion and Samoa Joe. So, you know, I like Wardlow. Got a great look. He's got a great size and everything. No detriment to him, really, the people in charge of the booking, but they've done so much with that guy. They messed up with him big time. It's really hard to truly take a step back when you've been watching this guy in the AEW realm for so long and go, well, you know what? This go round, it's going to be different. This go round, they're going to do this man right. I'm still not convinced of that whatsoever. This was just kind of one of those channel changing moments. I hate to say that. I really do, because I like Wardlow. He's got a great look and everything. But until I see some drastic changes and changes that occurs on a, not just a positive standpoint, but a consistent level of positivity, it's really hard for me to sink my teeth into whatever is going on with the Wardlow arc and everything. So, you take a guy like that. Look, when it's all said and done, we've seen this man involved with enough factions already. This man should just be a solo act. And what I cannot wrap my brain around is, man, how do we take a guy like Wardlow and maybe have him cross paths with another big powerhouse guy and say, a man like Powerhouse Hobbs? And it's simple. You have these two men cross paths and they're like, you know what? the goddamn travesty what has continued to happen with us in this company over the years. We've been waiting for our opportunities, and it just feels like our talents are truly being squandered away here. You know what? Rather than wait for those opportunities, we just need to seize, grab, take it. We need to make waves of our own. Let's just take what's rightfully ours. I'm very surprised that something like that has not happened in the cards yet. 2024 is still early, so maybe it will happen. We'll have to wait and see. But I just, when you look at just everything going on in AEW and the track record particularly, there's a lot of things that's being done right, don't get me wrong. But when you look at the track record when it comes to big men, they just seem to be really, really messing up big time freaking the big guys, right? Maybe with the slight exception to Luchasaurus, a.k.a. Killswitch. But then even at that, you could almost make an argument that, nah, you could put Killswitch in there as well. That's just my overall thoughts on that. You all can feel free to sound off, agree, disagree. It's definitely a good conversation topic of interest, I personally feel. You guys picked a good night to tune in, check out the show. For those of you that's going to be checking this out live, or you'll be representing and checking it out for on demand on the downloads, which I got to say this at the front of the show. Been checking out the stats on the downloads for our audio listeners, and I like what I'm seeing, but I'm a little bit concerned about where you all are accessing the show. So this is a PSA, a friendly reminder. The best ways that you guys can truly represent checking out the shows, you audio listeners I'm talking to, make sure you're accessing the shows on iTunes, also Spotify. I want to see those two particularly go up like a mofo. I've been seeing a lot more of you guys accessing the show through other mediums. And some of those mediums, it's undefined. Like, it's not telling me exactly how you all are accessing it. So, now if it's a case where you don't have iTunes, you don't have Spotify, I totally get that. I can respect that. But for those of you that do have iTunes and Spotify and you access the show, you access a lot of content on a regular basis, including podcasts, make sure you're showing the love and check out those respective platforms and all that. But, you picked a good night. We'll talk a little bit more about Dynamite. We'll also go over predictions for this Saturday morning's Elimination Chamber, Perth, Australia, premium live event. That's a tongue twister, isn't it? Try saying that 10 times fast. I didn't even practice that, right? We never practice here on the show. It's usually whatever comes to mind. I might have some bullet points, some ideas, but usually whatever comes to mind. Try saying that whole thing 10 times fast and don't fumble with that. We will also talk a few headlines. I know John Cena is making his rounds on social media, given the interview that he did with Howard Stern that has the community a bit divided as far as what he had to say about Vince McMahon and the allegations. It's very interesting because right when the topic dominated for a few hours on John Cena, another WWE superstar had came forward apparently, and not just one interview. There's one interview that a lot of folks had mainly latched themselves onto, but there was a second interview in which Randy Orton essentially, I already revealed the person, but, Randy Orton, he doubled down from what was said in one interview. This was with a different publication. It's almost night and day. We'll talk a lot more about that and some other little tidbits on the show tonight. So you guys picked a good night to tune in and everything. So, yeah, Dynamite. It was interesting because, again, you got to follow WrestleTix on social media. They do a phenomenal job in letting you see, okay, this is how this upcoming event, whether it's WWE or it's AEW, they do a really good job in letting you know what's going on with that particular event coming up, how many tickets have been sold, the seating capacity, They even give you great breakdown information as far as when was the last time that particular promotion was there at that arena and what was the seating capacity like then, how many tickets they were able to sell. Really great information. I can't stress it enough. Follow them, even if you don't have X account or whatever other platforms that they're on. You know, you can still go out of your way. You don't need to sign up to make an account. You can just, as long as you have their URL, you can put it in your search bar and you can see the information for yourself and everything. But they do a really good job keeping track of all of that. And there was some fun information that was online for tonight's AEW Dynamite show where you're looking at the seating capacity. The seating capacity this go round was a little bit over 6,000. And they had about maybe, I would say, almost 250, definitely under 300 tickets left to sell. So you're looking at that and you're going, well, that's not too shabby. And then you look at the last time AEW was there for that arena that they were at tonight for Dynamite. And if I remember right, I believe it was for Blood and Guts. I'm about 80% confident. I'm going off memory here, so you guys got to forgive me. If anybody want to cross-reference and give me any notes, feel free to. But last time they were there was for a Blood and Guts themed event. And that did a little bit over 8,000 as far as seating capacity, how many people were actually there in attendance. And what was funny about tonight's Dynamite, and this is a trend that you probably are not aware of, but it's a trend that AEW has been doing for a long time now to try to fill up their seating capacity. They basically do a case where, like tonight, take tonight for instance. It was really hilarious because they did this deal where, hey, buy one, get three for free. And you're like, wait a minute. Wait, dude. Say what? And you hear and see promotions like that. And you just can't help but think about your friends, your colleagues that, hey, man, I was able to score some really great seats for this upcoming wrestling event. Oh, how much did that set you back? Man, it set me back by like $400 or $500, man. But there's some damn good seats. And next thing you know, like the week of, you got people that are basically sitting in the same row as that friend of yours. And these people were able to get their seats for freaking dirt cheap. And you just can't help but feel for that friend and everything, right? So it's pretty hilarious. Like, for instance, what I'm telling you right now, for instance, WrestleTix, they got some information up for Elimination Chamber. And this is interesting because right now, available tickets, remember, this is in, Australia, right? At the Optus Stadium. Right now, they've got about 1,800 available tickets. That's 1,800 plus. Current setup, almost 50,000. I'm looking at 49,738. Tickets distributed, 47,875. So looks like it went up by 1,389 since the last update 24 hours ago. And right now, as you all know, we're 3 days away from the show. So, I mean, that's pretty good. Now, tonight's Dynamite, which was in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Box Center. They had, this was as of 6 hours ago, they had 134 tickets available. Their current setup, oh my God, are you kidding me? Oof. Their current setup was 3,262. Tickets distributed, 3,128. Wow. I must have been looking at something else. Wow, that is insane. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That is insane. Now, the last time they were here, what's going on here? What's going on here? I'm just looking at the card here, trying to see what's up here. That is insane. That is insane. Some people would say, wow, they're almost like in TNA territory with the way they are continuing to operate here. But yeah, I've been seeing this theme where AEW, they keep doing it. And it's so, before anybody goes, well, I can tell you that for a lot of the WWE events that I went to, for independent shows that I went to, I never saw it being a case where buy one, get three free, or, hey, go at your participating, whatever restaurant and you can get two free AEW. Like, I've never, ever, ever seen anything like that before. And it just has me scratching my head going, what the hell? But look, all's not lost. AEW is making some interesting moves, which we'll talk about later on, which kind of gives you a little bit of hope that maybe things are going to be definitely going in the right direction. They did some pretty interesting hires. Well, again, we'll talk about it later on. What was up with that Ric Flair promo from tonight? So for those of you that did not watch Dynamite, and if you want to just pick my brain overall, Lee, should I go out of my way, check out Dynamite on the DVR? You're good. You got me to help you out, okay? So if after you hear what I have to say about the show, it's up to you. But I'm telling you up front, you're good. You're good. Go watch something else. You can, I recommend the 2-part season finale of Quantum Leap. It was fantastic. The way that it ended, I'm going, you know what? If I were to hear that the series got canceled, well, they ended it on a really damn good note. And if based off what I read from the showrunners, wasn't intentional how they ended it. It's just one of those deals where, okay, we're going to do it like this. And we already are ready for the green light on the 3rd season. Like, we're ready to go on ideas, characters, and all of that. But I recommend, go, you can check out something else in the interim and everything. But what was up with the Ric Flair promo? So let me set this up properly. Renee Paquette, she just got done talking with Ruby Riott and Angelo Parker. And it's basically revealed that they're about to go on their first date. And this white, I don't know, man, if you want to call it the O.J. Simpson Bronco, go ahead, call it the O.J. Simpson Bronco. But this white Bronco pops up. And Ruby's looking at it like, damn. And she says to Angelo, you got that for us? And Angelo's like, no. I got us a lift. And you hear Taz in the background. Wow, what a cheap bastard. I can't help but say, ain't nothing wrong with taking a Lyft or a Uber. You see how some of these personal vehicles look, and if it's right, you're going, hey, that's pretty damn, yeah, look, hey, that's a nice looking vehicle. Let's freaking go there, right? Because anybody that has researched those vehicles, let me say that differently. Anybody that has maybe looked into doing some side work through Lyft or Uber, you guys know that as far as the vehicles go, okay, yeah, you can use that for Lyft or Uber, you got to have a particular year. Like, I believe shout out to my Uber and Lyft drivers out there, because some of our listeners are actually Uber and Lyft drivers. If I'm not mistaken, with Uber, for example, you got to have at least a 2004 vehicle and up, or I think it's 2014 and up, somewhere in that realm. And it's like, damn, it's just, you think you can maybe lie and go, oh, I'll just say I have this, and no, because they want to see your VIN number afterwards, a copy of it. They want to see all of that, so there's no way you can get around, and Lyft is pretty much the same way, right? So I gotta admit, before I started driving, whenever I would take a Lyft or an Uber, some of the rides I would see, I'd be like, damn, and I'm kind of a tech nerd anyway, so I'm also an auto nerd to a degree, okay? So I'll be talking, if I see a really, really nice car, back in the day, somebody picking me up in a Lyft or Uber, I'm going, hey, what's going on with the horsepower? How she drive? And, I'd be asking all kinds of, auto stuff and everything, right? So, but I love hearing Taz in the background just calling Angelo Parker a cheap bastard, right? Because he's getting a lift and everything. But now you're wondering who's in this big old Bronco, right? What's going on? Turns out it's Ric Flair. A little bit afterwards, Renee Paquette catches up with Ric Flair, and Ric Flair just goes into this somber monotone of how things have not gone according to plan since he arrived in AEW. He thought that he was going to have a much bigger role. More specifically, he thought he was going to have a much bigger role in Sting's farewell, and he is just, as a result, greatly disappointed in how things have turned out. And at this point, he's looking to try to steer the ship in the right direction and everything. So he excuses himself from Renee as he pretty much tells her, look, I'm not really in the best headspace right now to be talking here. Actually, some people I want to go talk to about all of this. So we see the cameras continue to follow him as he heads on into knocking on the door of the Bucks. The Bucks are looking at him very perplexed, wondering what's going on. What does he want? And he says to them, look, I want to talk to you guys. Do you guys have time for me? Like, seriously, this is important. So that's where it ends. We got our cliffhanger right there. And you're just looking at that going, oh, man, the dirtiest player in the game. What is this man up to now? Like, what the hell is going on here? But very interesting. Some of the words that Ric Flair had said there, talking about how he's disappointed. When he signed up, he thought there'd be a better result. He mentioned how he is upset. More specifically, he's upset that he's not involved more. He should be right in the middle of things. And that hasn't happened. And as a result of that, he hasn't been on TV these past several weeks. And he's looking to explore options. So you hear all of this, and this just goes so perfectly with the Ric Flair, me. I got to put the spotlight on me. It's all about me. Nobody else. Watch me. So you got that narrative that's spinning. And I don't know who came up with this in the back, but if you've got the crew essentially going, wouldn't it be kind of cool if we kind of toyed around and teased the idea that Ric Flair is potentially going to turn on Sting and Darby Allin? You're looking at that, you're going, okay, that's a very interesting, or is this a case right here where Sting and Ric Flair's friendship goes back so many decades that when it's all said and done, Flair is going to put the screws to the Bucks and ensure that Sting and Darby Allin walk out of Revolution still the tag champions, and basically the tag titles are maybe relinquished that way, or maybe Sting just, hey, I'm out, sayonara. And Darby maybe tries to look for a new tag team partner. Kind of do something a little bit similar, right? I mean, I'd be okay with the latter if that was something that AEW, Tony Khan, and them were thinking about exploring. I would totally be okay with that. And as far as who could potentially be a new tag team partner and everything, honestly, I would love to see it be a case where maybe Jeff Hardy is Sting's replacement. And not to mention the one match that we saw Darby and Jeff Hardy have and everything. You guys remember my comments, because I talked about the match. If I remember right, that match had played out on a episode of Rampage several weeks ago, and I was writing up the review for that on 401 Mania, and I said, this is a pay-per-view quality type of match. It makes no sense whatsoever that we're getting this for free on television, but at the same time, at least the seeds have been planted in such a way where we can, see, these two run it back, and maybe we could ultimately have Jeff Hardy right? I did toy around with that idea. So I wouldn't mind maybe seeing Jeff Hardy slide on in there, right? We're jumping ahead a little bit, but sometimes it's kind of good to take a step back and kind of, because I mean, Sting's last match, it's not that far away, right? So this was very, very weird just watching Ric Flair, because his whole body language, his whole tone, Flair came off. I didn't say this on social media because I did not want people to take it the wrong way, but I'm looking at this segment with Ric Flair, and it was just so somber. It was just so monotone. It was so, God damn it, it was so low of energy. I'm going, where's this man's energy drink? We're constantly reminded how AEW is sponsored to you in part by Woo Energy. Well, obviously, Ric Flair did not have his woo energy today, or his woo wings, right? He didn't have neither of those. Let's hook him up, and maybe he can have some pep in his stepping or whatever, right? But yeah, I just found the low energy. I like how I went wings, and right on cue, my dog comes up to me, scratch at my leg. You can't make this stuff up. Hilarious. But yeah, they're just lowball energy. So now the question becomes, what exactly is Ric Flair doing here? I would imagine that very soon, if not on this week's Rampage, for sure on next week's Dynamite, we're going to see Sting and Darby Allin possibly confront Ric Flair and saying, yo, what the hell is going on? What's up, man? I would imagine we're going to see some type of a scenario like that go down, where there's going to obviously be friction ahead of Sting's final match. Whose side is Ric Flair on? What's going on here? Hey, for all we know, it could just be a case where Ric Flair decides, I don't like the way y'all been doing me. I'm just, I signed a multi-year contract, and I didn't sign up to be your water boy, okay? So I could see something like that going down, where Ric Flair may say to Sting and Darby Allin, I'm done, I'm out, but then pop up at the pay-per-view, which once again creates the idea of, I like what was planned tonight, because it seems that Ric Flair has gone rogue. I like that. Is he going to put the screws to Sting's final farewell match and screw him out of leaving AEW undefeated? Or, right? So I can't wait to see how that's going to play out. And that's going to go down in front of that North Carolina crowd, too. My wife was asking me as early as, I would say, 2 weeks ago. She asked me, she said, hey, I know you are a big fan of Sting. Want to go out there? Do you want to make the travel? Like, he could be there and back home, no issue. Do you want to go there and be live for Sting's final match? I said, like, my schoolwork, like, it's getting the best of me right now. Like, nah, I'm good. Just put me in front of the TV. Let me watch it on the big screen and all that. I'll be good to go and everything. So nice development right there. I'm curious what you guys think is going to be happening there in Sting's final match. Do you think Flair is going to screw him, or he's actually going to screw the Bucks? Sound off. Let me know what you guys think is going to go down. I'm most curious, but I like the way that was handled. Wish the energy from Ric Flair could have been loads better, but it's all good. Some solid matches was on the card for tonight, at least for the first hour, 15 minutes that I had watched. I got to give it up to Blackpool Combat Club taking on FTR. You know what? It's nice to see that at least innocent until proven guilty. I think it depends. I think it depends on the severity of the crime and all of that other stuff. But I just find it interesting that Cash Wheeler is still able to, for now, be on TV, despite the fact that he's got the personal legal issues that's going on, which we've talked about here on the show and everything. Solid opener to tonight's Dynamite. Fantastic tag match. I mean, this felt like some ROH level type of fine classic. I mean, vintage ROH, right? I ain't talking about any. This is like vintage ROH. And I like the fact that this match went to a time limit draw after a little bit over 20 minutes. Loved it. I loved it. This was some damn good, solid action. Crowd was chanting for 5 more minutes as all 4 men were staring each other down, and they all just went at it. I loved it. Security came over trying to, break all of it up and everything. I loved it. I love what I was seeing here with all of these respected teams. FTR was caught up with backstage. They told Alex Marvez that, you know what, Revolution is coming up. Let's freaking do this again, right? Let's do a rematch. Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, they popped up with security holding them back. They want to fight. Cash pretty much says, yo, name the time and the place. Moxley shoving the security and everything, right? Like, let's go back to the ring. Let's settle this right now. So, seems that on the docket for Revolution next week, we're going to be seeing this match happen again. I mean, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Based on what we saw tonight, yeah, go ahead, run it back. I'm totally down. Orange Cassidy, meanwhile, taking on Mike Bennett. This was not for the AEW Intercontinental Championship. And I love how they did all this stuff beforehand with Renee Paquette. It was just hilarious because, yeah, Renee Paquette. So, Cassidy, you fell off a ladder and then you fell down a flight of steps and then you fell from an elevator shaft and then you fell from a 30-story building and then you fell from a helicopter and still you were able to survive all of that. And here you are. No, obviously Renee Paquette didn't say any of that, but just when you just keep hearing her just run down this list of everything that's been happening with Orange Cassidy over the span of like some days, you're just going, Renee, take a pause, take a breath, exhale, right? Keep going. She just laid out this diatribe of, and I just couldn't help but sometimes, I don't know if you guys are thinking the same way here, but sometimes I'm looking at Renee Paquette and just some of the stuff, the awkwardness in some segments that she's involved in, and I'm going, Renee, honey, are you really okay with this? Seriously, are you really okay with this? Because I'm just picturing the Renee Paquette, the professional that she is. I'm just picturing her going, wait a minute, time out. Am I really going to be going here? I really am going to be doing and saying all of this? And I just couldn't help but look at this particular segment where she is just, I'm quoting one of my favorite Zeppelin songs, Ramble On. She's just rambling on. I'm just thinking to myself, Renee, surely you ain't down with this, but I guess since the checks are clearing, right? Whatever, but I'm just looking at this going, okay, this is really comical how we're doing this, because in this aspect, all the diatribe that she was spitting out there about Orange Cassidy, it did not come off, God damn, brother, he's a fighting champion. It didn't come off that way. It came off more like comical in a sense of, man, we don't shot at Jason. We set him on fire. We threw a 500-pound safe over him from above. We buried him. We drowned him. And dude keep coming back. It was almost on that kind of level, just the ridiculousness. That's even the word, but I'm going with that tonight. Funny stuff. Anyway, Orange Cassidy, Mike Bennett, building this up, basically. Cassidy going over. No, is what he was. Decent little match. Post-match, Taven came out to attack. There was a double team up there on poor Orange Cassidy until, from out of nowhere, of all the people to save Orange Cassidy, Jake Hager, without his favorite hat, now he's got on some cool looking shades, comes out there for the save. Interesting development that needs to continue from there. Daniel Garcia, interesting segment there that he had where he basically put over his match with Adam Copeland. while also highlighting at the same time that, yo, Copeland, next time you and me ever cross paths, rest assured, I will be holding the TNT championship. So pretty much letting Adam Copeland know anytime he wants to go at it again, Garcia, as far as he's concerned, he's down. Gets interrupted there by Christian Cage. Christian Cage coming out there. I love the slow build up there and setting up your father is dead. This was a hilarious segment because Christian Cage had brought up this whole thing about, and it was just brilliant how he did this. He goes, hey, does a blah, blah, blah Daniel Garcia's mom, live at blah, 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 blah. And is blah, 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 his father at that same address. And you're like, wait a minute, what the hell? And if you were tech savvy, as soon as you heard that address, you're going, let me put this in a Google search and let me see what comes up. I howled with laughter. Look, I have black humor in me, okay? So I can find humor in, especially when it's presented a certain way, okay? The way this was laid out by Christian Cage was freaking brilliant and funny as I don't know what, because as soon as you typed in the address that he was putting out there, the first image that pops up on your little Google Maps joint is a cemetery. So you're going, I couldn't even say that with a straight face. But you go right into seeing a goddamn cemetery. And you're going, oh, Lord have mercy. No, not. I can't believe he's doing this. Like, really? He's actually going there. This was good stuff. This was really, really good stuff. Saying, hey, Daniel, do you know of a Jackie Garcia that lives in Buffalo, New York, married to David Garcia? David Garcia, Daniel's father, like, hey, that father's dead, right? Once again, we've got Christian Cage talking about, look, I will be your father figure. Put your tiny hands in mine. I will be your preacher teacher. Anything you have in mind, right? I loved it. I loved it. This was a really good segment here. And look, obviously, these two are going to be colliding at Revolution, or at least they're toying with the idea of Revolution, even though we've seen the graphics and everything. As far as Christian Cage was concerned tonight, yo, Garcia, you might be talented and all that, but you're not quite ready just yet. And after putting down Daniel's father and everything, Daniel saying straight up, look, open your mouth again, talk about my father, and I'll make sure that you're buried right next to him, right? So Nick Wayne, of all people, not Killswitch, who was there, but Nick Wayne walks on down there, gets his ass handed to him, gets put in a sharpshooter. Killswitch goes out there, tries to attack, comes down the ramp, struggles, getting up there on the apron. Matt Menard comes in with a chair, smacks Luchasaurus pretty good. Nice little save, nice little segment. Way all that had went down. Tony Storm taking on a local hero in Sydney Winnell. Jabberwishish, as far as I'm concerned, that was a squash joint. Yana Purrazzo coming out there afterwards and basically telling Tony Storm, watch this. Taking on Madison Rain. Love Madison Rain. Cute little Jezebel. Okay. Oh, okay. Wasn't much you could really sink your teeth into here, right? Deanna picking up the win. No brainer right there. Storm rushing down, trying to attack Deanna afterwards. Deanna was on that ass until Mariah May calls a distraction, helping Tony Storm get right back on the rebound with her attack. By the way, was not aware of this, but shout out to Sting, who had revealed in a promo that aired tonight that his father had passed away. I was not even aware of that. I did not see any wrestling news site that mentioned this. And I am a huge Sting fan. And I did not see any of the usual suspects in wrestling sites even mention this news. So to say that this news had took me off guard, and I'm a huge Sting fan. You guys sadly can't see it in the background here, but I have a really cool Sting figure from the AEW line. It's one of the first 10 that's in the background. I also have 2 pictures up of Sting on the wall, 2 autograph pictures of Sting. There's one from when I met him at AwesomeCon a couple of years ago. He did a great Q&A panel. I know my Q&A panel, when I made transcript highlights be available for it, for various wrestling sites to put in circulation. Because I was the only, as far as like representing, wrestling media goes and just media in general, I was the only guy that was there officially covering that Sting Q&A panel. If you guys are curious about that Q&A panel, it's on demand. Just search. I think the best way you can find it is AwesomeCon, Sting Q&A, RCWR. Try playing around with those words, and you'll come across it when you see it. So I have that photograph that me and Sting had took. I believe Wifey did one, but I did one separate with Sting. And then I've got a black and white vintage photo of Surfer Sting. So I'm a huge, to the whole point, I'm a huge Sting fan. So the fact that I didn't even know about this, right? Well, you just heard that, you're like, oh man, that freaking, it sucks. It was great, the overall presentation and how this segment was set up, because a lot of what you were hearing Sting talk about, especially when he was mentioning his father, passing of his father, you're going, okay, now how does this tie back? If you're a younger wrestling fan, you're going, how does this tie into, but us veteran wrestling fans, we're going, okay, we see exactly how this is being laid out, and this is great. Okay, yeah, let's go there. Sting holding up the photo there of his sons, and he's like, remember them? Remember what you did to them and all that. And there was a photograph of Sting's sons when they were barely teenagers. And he points out the fact that, kids are around this age, right? Actually, you know what? That was Darby that said that. But Sting pretty much popped up afterwards and echoed those same words, following up particularly saying family is all that matters, and basically letting them know you've really made this personal now. You've got a fight on your hands. You better be prepared, because the fight for your life is coming. It was a really great emotional segment. I got goosebumps. It made me think about vintage Sting promos when it was all said and done. Really good stuff. Main event match of the night: Hangman Adam Page, RVD, looking fantastic for a guy in his 50s, by the way. Looking really, I'm not just saying, he looks great for a guy in his 50s, because still recognizable all these years later. I mean, that's a great testament as far as fitness and health and everything. So I just mad respect RVD. Hook, 3 of those guys teaming up to take on Swerve Strickland, Brian Cage, Samoa Joe. Team Samoa Joe picking up the win. I sadly did not watch this match in its entirety. So the little bits and pieces that I saw, it looked like it was a really good match. That's one I'm definitely going to go back and check out when I get a free moment. This match got a lot of story time too. This match looked as though it got at least close to 20 minutes, if not a little bit over. So, but you know what? From the most part, all that I saw, like I said, I felt at the top of the show, as I mentioned, I want to stress it again, I felt very detached. And I don't know, maybe it's just a case of some of the other stuff that's happening in the wrestling world that just kind of had me a little bit numb checking out this episode. But I can recognize that, you know what, not for nothing, there were a lot of, solid elements here on this show tonight as we're getting closer to Revolution. Opener was great. Nice build up. I like the continued friction going on there between Toni Storm, Deonna Purrazzo. The Wardlow promo, I just, for me, the biggest problem with that Wardlow promo, he came off like, to quote one of my favorite Godsmack songs, crying like a bitch. That's literally how it came off. I wasn't a fan of that whatsoever. Did he recover towards the end of that promo, though? Yes and no. I would say yes and no. But I'm looking at the match card again. I'm just, as far as the matches go. The main event match, yes. Opener, yes. Everything in between could really do without, quite honestly. Could really do without. So if you were to pick my brain and say, was this really a 2-match show for this week? Yeah. Yeah, for the whole 2 hours, 2-match show. Yeah, I'm going to go there. But at least you got the notion that, hey, look, not for nothing, but at least they're trying to build towards Revolution. And to that, you can give them their respected props. But a lot of fast forward, and I think most people will find themselves doing with this episode. So, what thoughts on that one? Hey, y'all been enjoying yourselves so far. Hopefully you have been. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit the like button there. And really helps out a great ton. And to Alex in the chat, where you been, brother? We talked about that like, my God, what's it been now? 2-3 weeks ago? We talked about that already. So those of you that's like, what's going on, Lee? Alex is saying in the chat, just to let you know, people are speculating Brock Lesnar and Vince McMahon have been removed from the WWE 2K24. Both, given both were not mentioned on the roster. I mean, and are you really surprised, Alex? And to anybody else for that matter, are you really surprised? I mean, I'm not saying this to mock anybody. I'm not saying this to make fun of anybody, but I'm legit asking the question: are you all really that surprised? Now, before you answer that question, like really just stop and marinate on that, and ask yourselves: are you really that surprised? And I think, in all honesty, the answer to that is no, not surprised. I mean, we saw how fast Cat Daddy, which basically handles the WWE Supercard game for iOS and Android devices, we saw how fast they were to remove Brock Lesnar from the game. I mean, that thing was hilarious, too, because those that were able to obtain Brock Lesnar right now, at least for the remaining couple of weeks, they had just introduced a Royal Rumble tier. That's the newest, highest tier that's available in WWE Supercard right now. And Brock Lesnar, he was part of that tier. And as soon as the stuff came out about Brock Lesnar, 2K was like, Cat Daddy, they were like, yeah, pump the brakes on Brock Lesnar. So anybody that was able to get that new Brock Lesnar Royal Rumble 24 tier card, like, you're good. They weren't taking it away. That was yours. You could still push the image, all of that. That was yours. It's just a case where somebody else tries to come along. Oh, I want to get a Brock Lesnar card, be it a Royal Rumble 24 tier or a lower tier. They just want to get a hold of a Brock card. Brock Lesnar no longer pullable. So to hear this stuff about what's going on as far as speculating on, hey, Brock and Vince, they're not in the game. If it turns out they're not in the game, I'm not going to be surprised. And I don't think many of you guys should be surprised either. Furthermore, not for nothing, but leave it to the PC audiences out there who are very, very tax savvy, they are able to discover, okay, hey, look, it looks like this person and their model, their skin, everything's in here. They just, it's just locked, right? They know about all that great coding. They know how to resurface mofos with their entrance and all of that stuff. And then with how far advanced our tech is today, particularly when it comes to gaming on PC, I know that there are going to be some creative mofos out there that's going, okay, no Brock, no Vince, no problem. Make it my damn self and watch me get all these downloads. Now, the real question that you all should be asking, especially if you're a gamer, shout out to my CAW content creators out there. The real question that you all should be asking yourselves is, given what's currently going on with these allegations, anybody that tries to make Vince McMahon, Brock Lesnar, John Laurinaitis, CAW, right? Anybody that tries to make them, is 2K going to look the other way and basically be like, hey, freedom of, or is it going to be an instance where they go, no, because of the severity level of the allegations, like, this would be against our community standards and we have to issue a citation, a warning, or, like, that's banned, you can't. I'm very curious how they are going to handle that. That's the real deal that I'm looking for. And I think that's a lot of what you all should be looking and paying attention to as well. Kind of interesting segue, because I didn't plan on talking about this whole stuff until much later on in the show. So kind of interesting that we're on this topic now and everything, because speaking about allegations, it's actually a really, really good segue. So John Cena did a interview with Howard Stern earlier today, and it got a decent amount of folks in the wrestling community talking about this interview. And this interview, particularly what people were homing in on, is, and keep in mind that John Cena did Howard Stern for about an hour. So wide range of stuff that they covered. Okay. But there was a portion of the show, about 5 minutes of it, where they talked about the allegations of sexual misconduct against Vince McMahon. And I want, for you guys that have not heard this yet, I want you guys to hear this. And then I'm going to come back afterwards and I'm going to talk a lot more about this. I gave a little snippet of an idea of where I'm coming from with this on social media as I was chatting it up with my boy Mish from Wrestling Soup and John Draper. Shout out to Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics for making this audio clip be available, by the way. All right, so I'm going to shut up. This is about 5 minutes. I want you guys to really listen to this, right? Stop whatever you're doing. Dedicate 5 minutes. Just listen to this, okay? And we'll come back and we'll dissect this.
How do you handle, this is a tough one. I know you love the WWE and you love Vince and everything, but now Vince has gotten himself into hot water. What the fuck? Like, I have a couple of friends who have gotten into hot water, let's call it. And it's so goddamn confusing because you love the guy. And at the same time, also, you don't love what he's being accused of, obviously. What do you do? I mean, how do you handle those situations? I mean, I don't know how to handle them.
Well, so how do you handle yours?
Well, it's interesting. There are some people I no longer want to associate with because and it's almost not fair because it's not like they've been on trial, but there's been accusations that are disturbing. So I go, can I be personal friends with this person? And some people I can, because there's lines in my mind where things are drawn. But some people I can't because it's too big a mountain to climb. In other words, if any of this is true, I can't know you. You know, I loved you. I love what you did for me. I love our friendship. But now that I know this about you, there's no turning back. I have to do what I morally think is right. And unfortunately, it's not to associate. But this is a guy who's been so good to you.
Sure.
And so great in your career. I imagine it's a mind fuck. And then when you get asked about it, it's like it's too complicated to even talk about.
So I don't think it's complicated to talk about. I think it's complicated to listen to.
Mm.
And that's kind of why I don't necessarily put a lot of time and equity into it.
Yeah.
Again, I think there's still a long ways to go.
Yeah.
I can say this. I'm a big advocate of love and friendship and honesty and communication. But in the same breath, I'm also a big advocate of accountability.
Yeah, me too.
I think you explained it well of if someone's behavior lies so far outside your value system that the balance shifts of like, man, I can't operate in a world where this works.
Yeah.
That's the end result of being accountable. But there's also
going to do though.
Right now, what I'm going to do is love the person I love,
right? Be
their friend. And by that, it means like, hey, I love you. You got a hill to climb. And, there's the saying of like, hey, you don't know who you are or you don't know who your friends are until the shit hits the fan or your back's against the wall. That doesn't make any of what's going on any easier to swallow.
Right.
But just telling somebody that like, hey, I love you, man, this is going to be a hill to climb. We're going to see what happens. And that's that. I think it sounds so cliche, but it has to be one day at a time. But at the same token, I've openly said is I love the guy. I got a great relationship with the guy. So that's that.
No, I don't think that's cliche at all. That's kind of in my approach. One thing I do, and I say this to my wife all the time, I said, I'm going to pick up the phone and call the guy. I don't want to sit there and hide and say, I don't want to be the kind of friend who then says, well, I'm never going to address this again.
Yeah, I think my construct of trying to operate with honesty and communication, I think those are strong leads to handling any problem or any achievement. But the whole thing is super, super unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's really the thing that sucks, because not only does it deal with an individual I love, it deals with an entity that I love.
Yeah.
And it's one that I speak highly of. And you want to make sure I want everyone to have the experience I had. I want, if you're an employee at Disneyland, you want everybody to go to Disney and think it's the greatest place on earth. And when someone doesn't, or when you find out that there may or may not have been things going on there that, this place I was speaking so great about, well, in some aspects needed a lot of work. That's more than just how do I feel about this person? Now I shift to, okay, am I doing all I can to make it better? From the advice of like, work as hard as you can, promote as hard as you can. Is there anything I can do? So not only do I tell my friend I love them, I also switch to the entity and say, how can I help?
So if you're just joining us, you just listened to John Cena being interviewed on the Howard Stern show, talking about the allegations of sexual misconduct against Vince McMahon. Okay. Shout out to Draper, because Draper had pointed out that he, out of curiosity, he went on John Cena's social media page to see, if Cena had posted anything in regards to his appearance on the Howard Stern show. And it turns out Cena did post. He did not post that clip, apparently, but Cena did post about his appearance on there. And when you look at that respected thread, at least at that time that John had referenced, he mentioned that there was nothing but a lot of love, adulation, just nothing but love apparently for it and everything. Now I am looking, and this is basically what he said. Been years since our last conversation. Stern show. Thank you, Howard, and your entire crew for the time and opportunity to lean into another great conversation about who we are and what makes us us. That's all that he said, right? He didn't post a clip, but that's pretty much all that was posted. So you look at the current thread for yourself right now, and there was just nothing but, oh my God, awesome. Oh, this was great. Hey, solid, smiley faces. Hey, congrats. Yeah, I can't wait to see this. Can't wait to watch this. And right, I mean, that is basically it. Basically it. Coming out of that, and you pretty much go into the open world that is the wrestling community. And as I mentioned when we were previewing this, bit divided. Got a lot of fans that are looking at this and they're just going, Cena, WTF, man, way to come off like a schmuck. You know, what do I think, right? Because ultimately you guys want to know, okay, so Lee, what's your 2 cents on this? My 2 cents on this from a distance, and this is where I do have the experience, because I used to work in public relations. I used to work in marketing, okay? My wife to this day is still involved in public relations. His team failed him big time. His team failed him big time. Because honestly, what should have happened, no comment. I understand what you're asking me, and there's many layers to that. I get it. I get that this is your part of your job, and it's been a burning topic, right? It's had a lot of folks in the entertainment and the wrestling world talking about it, but I just, at this particular time, have no comment. I will not comment on this. This is obviously an ongoing, developing situation. And some people may go, damn, Lee, that is just such a goddamn cop-out, man. Like, why even go in that direction? Because, and I think, I can't remember who said it. I actually believe it was Randy Orton that said it. And I want to, because it's night and day. Night and day. You hear what John Cena just said. Let me read to you what Randy Orton had to say. And this one initially was making the rounds on social media, but then several hours later, there was a new interview that had came out. I guess they were like, well, wait a minute, we want to catch some of this clout too. So the initial one that came out had to do with Sports Illustrated here. Let me see if I can just pull this up here. Bear with me a second. Now, I had really loved what Randy Orton had to say in regards to this. Let's pull this up. I have to page back a little bit, but that's okay. Bear with me, folks. I'm about to hit it. Yep, there it is. And where is Randy Orton? So this is what Randy Orton in part had to say to Sports Illustrated. And this was making its rounds earlier today before, I believe it was, hang on. I have the screenshot of it. I believe it was the New York Times. Who was it here? New York Post had released its respected highlights from their conversation with Randy Orton. So Sports Illustrated first. Randy Orton said, I've got to say this. I wouldn't be where I am without Vince McMahon taking a chance on me a handful of times. I would not be where I am today without Vince McMahon. But fuck, I'm reading this what you've seen and read, I've seen and read. As far as commenting on that, it's hurts my heart. Again, to close that thought out, he said, as far as commenting on that, it hurts my heart. I thought that was a damn good reaction. I thought that was a damn good response. There wasn't no ring around the rosy. We're going to just go around and round in circles. We're going to go 2 blocks left here, and then we're going to go 3 blocks right down here, and then we're going to go down the street 2 blocks north, and then we're going to hang right. All the stuff that John Cena was doing in his joint with Howard Stern. Now, a couple hours later, New York Post, they followed up, right? And in this one, Randy Orton gave some additional comments. Here's what he had to say. I've seen the horrible things online that I don't want to believe because this man has done so many things for me. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have been given second and third chances in WWE. Now, let's pause on that one. We know that there was a period there very, very early on in Randy Orton's career where he violated the wellness policies. And back then, it was a case of 3 strikes and you're out. That's basically it. There was even one other occurrence that happened, a little bit later on, just when you thought that maybe Randy Orton had learned the error of his ways, that, okay, he's good to go. He got in trouble again, and you're like, man, this is most likely it for the guy. Check out the Randy Orton DVD that had came out some years back. Triple H, I mean, they got like a who's who of everybody. It's great. Trust me, go out of your way, own it. You'll thank me later. Okay. Randy Orton goes on to say, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in now if it wasn't for that man. So part of me wants to not believe it. And then the other part of me understands that he could have done all these wonderful things for me and the business and created this amazing thing that will go on and on well after he's gone. But on the other hand, he's human and he made some terrible mistakes. He goes on to say that there's 3 sides to every story. Their side, the other side, and then the truth. I think a lot more has to come out before I can really speak on any of this. I think that would be the case for any talent that you ask. But I do know about the Vince McMahon, the man I've known for the past 24 years, personally. And I owe him for everything he's done for me. I say that with conviction because I won't be in this position without a lot of help from him. But if these allegations are true, then it's some horrible shit right there. I'm torn. It's hard. So, this is still very consistent, is it not, with what Randy Orton put out there in the first interview that he gave to Sports Illustrated. Still very similar, right? So you look at the totality of this, right? Everything that Randy Orton has said, match that up against John Cena, and you just can't help but go, well, damn, Randy Orton had the better response to such a delicate situation while also showing some form of empathy that you can make for Randy Orton. At least he showed some type of empathy without mentioning the victims in question and all that. He did not try to make Vince McMahon come off like a victim or anything like that. He's like, man, if these allegations are, man, it really crushes me. It really breaks my heart. And I wish John Cena could have taken that approach. I wish John Cena could have been as candid. And now what I wish that both men, John Cena and Randy Orton, would have done. I do believe that as far as the comments from Randy Orton, I honestly do believe that they come from a true place of sincerity. And I do believe that he legit is torn. And let's not also forget that Randy Orton, and look, he's been involved in a few of his controversies of his own and everything. Whether you want to talk about steroid growth hormones, the investigation that went down a couple of years ago as far as sexual harassment goes, the tattoo lawsuit. My God. Didn't he say the N-word during a video game stream or whatnot? What was that, a couple of years ago? So, I mean, he's been involved in some controversies himself. Like Triple H and a few other people that are, Johnny Gargano, a few other people in WWE. He's a parent, particularly, he has a daughter. So I would imagine, right? I do believe that he is coming from a place of sincerity, and there is great confliction that's going on with him. But looking and finding out about certain things almost in real time with everybody else, he's probably stunned at what he's hearing. Now, some people may say, well, damn, Lee, this guy is saying that he's known Vince McMahon for 24 years. Let me tell you something, folks. You can know somebody for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, but you don't really know somebody until you've been in a situation where maybe you've lived with them, because that's when you can really truly find out, okay, let's get the person that's out and about in the work environment, at a club, or right, let's get them out of this outdoor environment and let's get them behind closed doors, living with them on a regular basis. Because behind closed doors, living with somebody, that is when you can get that person at their most intimate moments, whatever their truest, sincerest thought is. You're able to frickin', have we not forgotten what happened with Donald Sterling there? Man, that's a really good example of, okay, here's how this guy really feels about his basketball players behind closed doors. Here's how this guy really feels, right? So you can know somebody without really knowing somebody. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. They used to be a friend of mine. I ended up losing contact with them because, honestly, I did a really crappy job in, hey, how you doing? And not to mention that I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole of, man, because this is deep. Like what they were going through was really, really deep. But I had this friend, transgendered friend, who every time they walked into a room, man, nothing but smiles, good vibes, was always cracking jokes, very upbeat, whole 9 yards. This friend of mine was in the military, did a couple of tours, saw some real messed up stuff. It just messed with their head big time. Now, you can make an argument that, a lot of that stuff ultimately is, maybe what had led up to them saying, okay, bump this, I'm going to become trans. That'd be their story to tell you. That's not mine. I'm not going to speak for them. Well, what I can tell you is, despite putting up the smiles, the jokes, and, all this other stuff, I was probably one of maybe two other people, so 3 people total, that knew that this person was dealing with deep depression, right down to the point that they had tried numerous times in committing suicide. Again, I was like one of 3 people that knew this, right? My friend, their family didn't even know anything about this. right? You would not know that when you saw this person and you spent 5 minutes talking to them. You would not know that. You would know that. Now, their girlfriend, because despite being trans, they were still attracted to women. And their girlfriend, they were together for about, I don't know, like 10 years or whatever. Never told the girlfriend anything about suicidal attempts. None of that stuff. Never told them about the depression. None of that stuff. You would think that because they're behind closed doors but for whatever respective reason, I guess they totally weren't comfortable around them. Yet, when it came to myself and those two other friends, they felt. So, sometimes it could be a case where you don't always reveal. And I'm not saying that I'm saying that to help you guys really connect and understand with what I'm talking about as far as you think you know somebody, but then it turns out you really don't, right? We all have that facade. I challenge anybody to take up a class on communication theory. And one of the most fascinating things that you'll learn about, there's one chapter in particular and they compared it to an onion. And they basically said there are multiple layers that each of us have with our personalities. That's much like an onion. You've got that outer layer. Just picture that onion. And you've got that initial brown or maybe potentially yellow skin that's out there, right? And there's that image. And then, when you peel that off, maybe there is, right? And it just breaks down brilliantly all the layers, outer layers that people see of us that we want to bestow upon them. And it talks about those multiple layers and how when it comes to the inner self, right? The inner self, it's a case where we're trying to portray ourselves to be a particular way, not imaginary. I don't want you guys to think about that because communication theory, it basically was like, no, that's definitely no. But we're not trying to put on a imaginary facade or anything. We really are trying to present ourselves as best as we can, but also to a degree, we present a exaggerated version of ourselves in hopes that we will be likable with whoever that person is. And we've all been there. We've all done that when we've come across somebody that we like and maybe want to have them as a friend or whatever. We've exaggerated ourselves a bit, right? In hopes that, we're able to get in on their good graces, on their good side and all of that, right? But there's that inner personality that, okay, this is the true inner self that most people won't really know about unless it is on a intimate level. And when I say intimate level, I don't mean, you're having sex with them or anything like that, but it's just, you've had so many intimate conversations that eventually, okay, here we are here, like, oh, okay, this is what's up, right? We all are exchanging, intimate information and everything. So this whole thing with Vince McMahon, I get what Randy Orton is talking about. To a degree, I get what John Cena is talking about. But man, John Cena, the fact that the way he treated this was pretty much a case of, hey, I'm going to continue to be there for you because, man, these are some dark, troubling times that's happening with you right now. And it breaks my heart. It makes me so sad to see and hear these things that's going on with you. I tell you, I don't like what's going on. But you know what? I mean, he made it seem like it was the goddamn Great Depression or something. We're going to get through this together. Don't worry. And it's so much more than that. Look, if you want to continue to show your support to somebody, I say go ahead. Continue to show that support. But in a situation like this, maybe what you really want to be doing is privately behind closed doors, giving that support and everything, right? Letting them know that you're still for them, still with them, you're supporting them, you're in their corner and everything, right? But John Cena has gotten to a point in his life and career where he's getting that Hollywood money now on the regular. Not so much WWE anymore. I'm sure that he's probably still getting some decent royalties, but his bread and butter these days is coming outside of that company. So he's got a brand, he's got a name, he's got a reputation that he needs to make sure that he continues to stay on top of and everything. If you ask me, honestly, kind of seems as though, it kind of seems as though he, oh, fuck. It looks like we lost the stream here. What the hell happened? Trying to understand what went down with the stream just now. Hang on here, guys. Why did the stream get interrupted? For some reason, the stream got interrupted. Let me see what's going on here. Oh, CPU usage. That's what's going on. Oh, wow. CPU usage. Well, that sucks. That freaking sucks. Hang on. CPU usage, disk space. That's what's going on. Okay. I thought I had a little bit more time. That freaking sucks. That freaking sucks. And let me see what's going on here. Hang on here, guys. We were streaming on multiple outlets, and then the stream got freaking disconnected there. Your man need to clean up his damn disk space. I tell you what, he's got to clean up his disk space. This is ridiculous. Let's see here. So I am going to hide this. Hang on a second here, guys. No. We want to. Hang on here. I'm going to make this video private. That's unfortunate. We ran out of disk space. I've been meaning for the past couple of weeks to clean this up, but no. Oh my God. Oh my God. I've really got to clean this up. Okay, so so are we even streaming? Yeah, we're not even streaming on any outlets right now. So let me close that. And then, okay, so now we're good. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna have to upload the audio version of the show. That's pretty much how I'm gonna do it. I'll probably put that out there ASAP in a little bit. But yeah, going back to that whole thing, I didn't like the way John Cena had came off, and as I was discussing online and everything, I know Mish, he had said John Cena spoke very ambiguously and people are having upset reactions. It's unreasonable to think that Cena would and inculpate Vince, especially when no one knows how much Cena knew. However, he could have shown more human empathy for the context of the situation that is known. And I definitely agree with that cold-heartedly, because the way he made this seem, and to the point that I had made earlier, I said, look, I would not be surprised if you had sexual abuse why can I not freaking pronounce it tonight? Groups, right? Sex abuse groups that jumped out there and was like, yo, this is a poor way to respond to a situation like this. Like, I really wish this would have been a case where John Cena would have said, look, in regards to the victims, I just want to say, I hear you. I hear your stories. Not only do I have empathy for you. I have sympathy for you as well. And to anyone out there that may have potentially been hurt by this, man, I know it's still very early and everything, and there will be a time and place with our judicial system, assuming that it goes that far, where everything will come into light and we'll have even more information. But to potential victims that's out there, I'm sorry what happened to you all. I really wish that he would have shown that type of level. But the word game that he was playing right here, it came off really, really bad. And let's keep in mind, this is a man that does a lot for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. He's got like the most Make-A-Wishes like in the organization's history and all that. And this isn't a case where people were expecting for Cena to throw Vince McMahon under the bus. Not the case whatsoever. This was more so a situation where I think people were looking for John Cena to pretty much have the same response that Randy Orton had. And the fact that Cena did not, that's what has people pretty much a little bit in uproar here. That's why he's catching the heat that he's catching right now. It definitely came off. I see some of the response that's out there. For a lot of people, it came off very cold-hearted. I wish this was the old Howard Stern. I wish the old Howard Stern, would have followed up and, really, really, okay, Cena's gone there. He could have shut it down and said, no comment, no, but he's gone there. I wish Howard Stern would have really gone there and been like, what do you say to the victims? You see all the stuff that's out there. What do you say to the victims, John? Right? That really would have been, right? I'm surprised Howard didn't go there. I'm really surprised that he did not go there, but there definitely was no upside to him speaking on that. But as I said on social media, rest assured that if a situation comes about where John Cena has to do an interview with The View or the Today Show, make no mistake about it. Especially, I have a feeling this topic is going to come back again, and he's going to be better prepared. Whether or not people will accept that new take, that remains to be seen. Because a lot more people are going to go with that first impression rather than, you feel where I'm coming from? So, but while we're speaking upon that, allegations and all that, Ashley Massaro still making the news. Her daughter has taken to social media, and she had a lot to say in regards to, I just realized I can pretty much take my glasses off since I don't have the webcam on here and everything. Shout out to you podcasters out there. Make sure that your webcam or correction, your space, your disk space when it comes to OBS and all that, make sure you hook it up, man. Make sure you're cleaning it up. I've got so many files in here that I need to just go ahead and delete. And I'm literally looking at it right now, and I'm just about to go, yes, I want to delete all of these. So many damn joints. Okay, good. I literally just cleaned it. Check this out, guys. For my OBS, the software that I use to record the shows and all that background. So for my CPU usage, that's fine. I mean, I'm not using that much of disk space and all that as far as CPU usage. But my disk space is where things really got messed up. I just wiped out over 700 gigabytes of disk space. So yeah, that's why we were having issues just now. So that was a long time coming. That's my whole point. That was a long time coming. But anyway, getting back here, Ashley Massaro's daughter, she recently has made the news because she had a lot to say in regards to that woman that's running around claiming she used to be a friend of Ashley's and all that. I want to pull up that article for you guys here and read to you all what she had to say, because you notice I didn't really talk about that woman that went on News Nation, Cara Pipa, friend of the late Ashley Massaro. She spoke with News Nation last week about claims Massaro made against WWE in a 2019 affidavit. Remember, Massaro previously stated that she was raped by someone posing as a military doctor during a 2006 Goodwill tour by WWE in Kuwait. Pipa, meanwhile, claimed that Massaro told her she was threatened into keeping quiet by WWE executives and that Stephanie McMahon was one of the ones who knew about the incident. So, in a series of posts, Massaro's daughter Alexa said that Pipa was not a friend and, in fact, had been harassing Ashley's family since her passing. However, Alexa did note that what Pipa said Ashley told her may be the truth. However, the family does not want anyone speaking on Massaro's behalf to the media. Alexa writing, finally gained the courage to search my mom's name, and I see her ex-best friend, the woman who has harassed me and my grandma since her passing, has messaged family members awfully mean things pretending to be me, etc., as the voice chosen to represent this. God help me. Cara Pipa wasn't even a friend of my mother's when she passed. She was an ex-best friend who, since her passing, has just spam messaged me unsettling, delirious messages and has fabricated bizarre messages, etc., etc. For the record, I didn't watch the video. I just wanted to put that out there. She, Cara, could be correct, though, regardless of Cara Pipa being the last person my mom would want speaking on her behalf. The things my mother faced during her years with WWE were real. No one who supports the Massaro family, literally all that is remaining, is me and my grandma Barbara, who I live with anyways, would go to the media or news outlets. They know it's against our wishes. Her mother's wishes. Her mother, as in Ashley's mother, my grandmother. So, and look, I gotta admit, when I was watching that interview on News Nation, first of all, anybody that is watching News Nation, that ain't real news. And I had somebody, God bless them, I had somebody that tried to send me this link and say to me, oh, well, according to this URL site, News Nation, apparently it is unbiased when it comes to the reporting of news. And I said to them, wasn't being mean-spirited, but I said to them, all due respect, I have a set of eyeballs and I major in journalism. And based off what I've seen from News Nation, that is biased news, but don't take my word for it. Just ask Roland Martin. And for those of you that need a little bit of a refresher as far as the type of news reporting that News Nation likes to do, Dan Abrams. I know there's a lot of you guys that remember him. He used to do the, live PD show on A&E multiple nights and all that. Well, pretty much once that got shut down, before that rebooted cop show of his came to fruition on the Reels network. I can't even think the name of that new cop show he's doing. he ended up taking a job on News Nation, where he pops up every night covering news stories and all that. And there's this one particular topic. It had to do with I believe the Black Lives movement or whatnot, maybe the Capitol 6 rioting or whatever. I can't quite remember at this time. But he had Roland Martin. Roland Martin is a very respectable journalist. I mean, the man has been around for many, many, many years. He owns his own respected network. He used to be the host of News One Now and Washington Watch with Roland Martin. Used to be a CNN contributor. I mean, he was one of the main figureheads on TV One back in the day that was running around trying to do everything that he can to really build up great equity in the TV One network and everything, right? So he appeared on the show, and Dan Abrams was asking him these series of questions, basically, hey, why are you saying this? Why are you saying that? And Roland's like, find me the tweet, show me the screenshot of when I said this. Like, I know what I said. I did not say that. And this was a case right here where, you're watching this and anybody that's followed the career of Roland Martin, this man is always well prepared. This guy constantly has receipts. And you could see him being taken off guard at a lot of these things that was being brought up, because first of all, a lot of these topics wasn't even from what he mentioned, Roland Martin, that is, from what he mentioned was initially when it came to the producers talking to him, yeah, we just want you to talk about, X, Y, Z. And it's like, okay, all right, cool. And then when they actually went live, they went freaking 180 on him. And Roland was pretty pissed about this. And you could actually go and just type in, matter of fact, I'm going to do it for you right now so you guys will be able to find it with ease. If you type in Dan Abrams, Roland Martin, in a YouTube search, yeah, very first video that you'll see what I'm talking about. You screwed up. Roland Martin rips News Nation's Dan Abrams for taking tweets out of context. This was like over a year ago. And then right up under that, also shared by Roland Martin, is the entire Dan Abrams News Nation segment where Dan screwed up and lied about police tweets from Roland Martin and everything. So this was really, really bad. This was really, really bad what had went down. So I know News Nation, they promised to be a unbiased alternative to Fox, CNN, and everything. And it's like, yeah, okay, sure. And I watched it. I tried watching them for the first little bit, because News Nation is based out of the main studios out in Chicago, my home city. And, it seems as though the way that they are operating now, they're more interested in just chasing a headline rather than doing a lot of cross-referencing and making sure that, okay, now let's make sure all our eggs are in a row here. Constantly fucking up stories when it's all said and done. From what little bit that I've seen over the years, they've constantly been fucking up stories. In regards to the ex-friend of Ashley Massaro, anybody that has a set of eyeballs, you're looking at this woman being interviewed, and the way she is just sniffing her nose, kind of looking off to the side and everything, you would swear that she was waiting for her next junkie fix. I'm not being a heartless bastard. Go back and watch that. And shout out to Kev Castle. Kev was, because he's got friends in the area, and because remember, Ashley Massaro, she's a New York girl, New York/New Jersey girl, and Kevin actually talked to a couple of people that know about that Peepa girl, and they basically had some unsavory things to say about her. So as far as being credible, yeah, she's definitely not it whatsoever. So, it just goes to show you that, because I know last week there was just this whole riot act on Stephanie McMahon, and everybody's just jumping out there. Just everybody had an opinion, and everybody was like, hang Stephanie McMahon. Like, and it's like, okay, so we're going to take the word of an individual that just literally came out of nowhere. We're going to take the word of this individual over. Really? We're really gonna go there. Like, no. Just as I said with that onion analogy several minutes ago, this is a ever developing story. There are so many layers to this. More information is still unraveling as days progress. And we all collectively just need to take a chilled, wait and see approach and just follow everything as it plays out, particularly if everything is going to enter discovery mode, if everything is going to enter trial and all of that, if things don't go to a settlement. Speaking of settlement, I see that WWE, Vince McMahon, they've now launched a settlement site. This just really had me laughing my ass off, but the law firm launches a WWE settlement site offering potential justice for victims or witnesses. Pincus and Mullins have launched WWEsettlements.com, offering a chance for potential victims or witnesses to come forward. The site states, if you were sexually assaulted, made to feel uncomfortable, or witnessed sexual abuse by Vince McMahon or anyone from WWE, UFC, and I apologize, I said WWE had created, no. The lawyers that's trying to help these victims, witnesses, they are. But yeah, it goes on to say, if you were sexually assaulted, made to feel uncomfortable, or witnessed sexual abuse by Vince McMahon or anyone from WWE, UFC, you may be entitled to significant compensation. I am just waiting for Saul Goodman to pop up, and you feel where I'm coming from. So this is some interesting uncharted territory that we're going into right now. A little bit of a lighter note. Nick Hogan, he will have a hearing in regards to his DUI case at the end of the week. Remember, he was arrested back in November of last year on charges of misdemeanor DUI after he was stopped returning in Florida on suspicion of a DUI. PW Insider reporting that Hogan will have a hearing in the case this Friday, February 23rd. He has waived the right to, at that time at least, he waived the right to a speedy trial back in January on the charges. Friday's hearing had originally been set for July 17th, but ended up being delayed. So that's where we stand that right now. And other than that, I know there was a open... Well, actually, let's get to that in a hot little bit. Let's talk about Josh Alexander. Josh Alexander was making the news because originally news was out there that Josh Alexander told TNA executives, hey, please don't pick up the 1-year option on my contract. Let's just let it expire. I want to see what's out there on the open market. I want to test it. Well, his contract, which was supposed to expire on February 14th, company ended up picking up that year. So now his contract runs through February 14th of 2025. So he'll be a free agent after that, unless he reaches a new deal with TNA. Fightful Select adds that the contract renewal was not due to Alexander missing time due to injury. Even while Alexander was injured, he did work backstage for TNA as a producer, which allowed the time to continue on his contract. So, I know a lot of people we're kind of divided at this, almost divided at this. Some were like, oh, what TNA did, that was a dick move. But some people even jumping out there saying it's obvious that Josh Alexander probably wasn't liking what happened with Scott D'Amore, and he's just looking to explore other options. What TNA did was dirty. Look, when it's all said and done, they had the option. Anthem / TNA, they had the option to pick up that year. And they decided, oh, you know what? We want to pick that up, right? So I know that a lot of the TNA talent, they had sent out a open letter to Anthem addressing what all had went down with the firing of Scott D'Amore. For those of you not aware, yes, TNA talent, they sent a letter to Anthem to express their frustrations over Scott D'Amore being fired and everything. The letter reads as follows: Lynn and Scott, TNA Impact is not just our employer and the company for which we work. It is a family that each of us has grown to love and cherish and trust with our bodies and our careers. Family for which we feel deeply and that desire, above all else, to protect. We are deeply saddened by the decision to remove Scott D'Amore from the TNA Impact family. Scott is a brilliant wrestling mind that has guided this company and has it positioned to take the next step upward in our industry. Scott is also so much more than this. He is a trusted friend, confident teacher, advisor, brother, and mentor to say many within the TNA Impact family. Scott has been the heart of the TNA Impact family for over 2 decades. Len and Anthem have been instrumental in supporting and building this company back from the ground up. Contributions of Len and Anthem have never gone unnoticed by anyone in the company, and we want to make sure Len knows this. TNA, simply put, would not have survived without Len and Anthem, not just financially, but with the undying faith in Scott and us to revive the company that was on the brink of death. Len and Anthem are the foundation that TNA has been able to build upon. We would not have made it back to this point without both of you. The fans know this, and the TNA family knows this. We come to you to voice our concern for TNA, Impact, our family, and its future and direction. We, like you, wish to safeguard what we have all worked, sweat, and bled for to build. We want TNA Impact to continue to grow and continue to be an inviolable place for professional wrestlers to work. We understand and appreciate that professional wrestling at its core is a business, and that the company must provide a fiscally responsible, financially viable product. At the same time, professional wrestling is uniquely situated. Business of professional wrestling is so much more than balance sheets, downloads, and ratings. Wrestling business is and must be its people, its characters, and its storylines. That is to say, there is no wrestling business without the wrestling creative vision and the right people bringing the creative vision to life. To thrive, a wrestling company must have both eye toward business decisions and its fingers on the pulse of creative decisions and the ever-changing appetite of our fans. It is in the light of this concern and our desire to uphold the high standards of TNA Impact that we offer this letter. It's our desire to have a dialogue with you and with the company in an effort to protect the present and the future of TNA Impact for you, for Anthem, for the fans, and for professional wrestlers. We feel strongly that wrestling person needs to be intimately involved at a high level to ensure that the amazing company we have built and product we have provided to our fans continues to grow and flourish. It's our opinion that the best possible person for that role will be Scott. Recognize that we do not necessarily know all the facts or details around the decision to remove Scott. In life, there is always the rumors, the opinions, and somewhere in between the truth. We rarely get to know which is which. It remains our hope and desire that everyone can set aside the past few days and any hurt feelings or unkind words that may have been exchanged, meet to discuss a path forward that preserves the TNA Impact family we all hold so dearly. Last paragraph. We remain steadfast and hopeful that this letter can be first step to opening and keeping open productive lines of communication to ensure the TNA Impact family continues to be a wonderful, unique place to work for years to come. We ask and implore you both to come together and create a resolution that will reunite this family once again. Look forward to hearing from you and continuing this dialogue. Sincerely, your TNA family. Should note that Fightful spoke to talent regarding their opinions on Anthony Sassoni, who basically is Scott D'Amore's replacement and everything. And he is spoken of as a well-liked person, but there's concerns about his lack of experience in wrestling. So I want to really make sure that that's highlighted there. Look, obviously, this move that was done by Anthem execs, obviously they did not reach out to all the talent and say, hey, look, this is what we're thinking. What say you all? And what's your feedback? Thinking about exploring options. Okay. So with that in mind, how would you all feel if put this person over Scott D'Amore, and essentially Scott D'Amore, answers to this person, and just from a business standpoint, right? I don't understand why Scott could continue to keep his position, why he could not continue to keep his position, and this other guy is able to, just from a business standpoint and everything, why they couldn't just, right? Why it couldn't be a whole new position for them created so they can specifically, when it comes to any TV negotiating deals, what have you, they could be the face while Scott can continue to be. You understand where I'm coming from, folks? It's a very interesting situation. And apparently Scott had tried to find some financial backing partners, and he was able to secure them some time ago. And he pretty much went to Anthem and said, hey, look, I've got these backers here. I want to buy TNA from you guys. What's up? And they pretty much had shot that down. So I don't know if this might be a case of ramifications from that or what. But the fact that, I got to admit, when I first heard the news about Scott D'Amore, I'm going, did this guy do something? I know there were people that jumped out there assuming and acting as though it was fact that this guy did something. I'm like, no. It's like, we haven't heard anything about Scott D'Amore. And I know there was that one knucklehead, I believe it was Nick Hausman. He tried to put some type of a rumor out there that, and it's kind of like, yeah, all of a sudden you got the scoop. Like, no, why didn't we hear anything negative about Scott D'Amore years prior? Like, what the hell is going on here? Like, I didn't take anything that Nick Hausman was saying, to the bank to cash it, as far as it being valid, newsworthy, trustworthy. Yeah, no, you can miss me with that, Hausman. So the fact that this blindsided the hell out of the talent, it's already a very delicate situation as it is. All the work that they've put into this, and Scott to be dismissed like this. I really do hope that the people at Anthem look at this move very, very seriously by the talent that put this letter together. I really hope that they take this to heart and they go, okay, you know what? Let's really take a step back here. And now look, my whole thing is, how far are the talents going to be willing to go to put their foot down and get Scott reinstated? Are they willing to take this to the point where, okay, you know what? We're going to go on strike. We're not showing up for TV tapings. We're not collectively. If they all wanted to, and if they're really, really serious about this, they could refuse to work until some type of a remedy is reached where Scott Moore is reinstated. This is a case right here where apparently Scott wasn't trying to be fired. Scott wanted to see if he could be put in some other type of position, and he tried and they were not having it. So this wasn't a case where Scott just decided, okay, I'm out. Wasn't the case whatsoever. That's what makes this whole situation even more baffling, very puzzling. So for the talents that's still there, this is a case for them right now where, okay, you've penned this letter, and depending on if that dialogue does commence and there's progress, but if that letter just basically falls on deaf ears, then the next move for everybody involved in TNA becomes, how far are they willing to take this to let their voices be heard? Are they willing to go on strike? And if you are willing to go on strike, it could be a good minute before, but are you all willing to endure that in order to get Scott back in there? Other thing that could possibly go down, Scott D'Amore, a lot of friendships, a lot of great relationships built over there. Rest assured, wherever he goes, if he decides he wants to continue to stay involved in the wrestling industry, because outside of the wrestling industry, he's made a pretty good name for himself, making some really good money. He doesn't need it. He could be done with wrestling at any time, but obviously he still has a great passion and love for it and wants to continue to stay involved in it. For Scott D'Amore, if this is a case where he decides he wants to continue to stay involved in wrestling, rest assured that talents are definitely in TNA. They're definitely going to be watching the moves that he makes. And dare I say, as soon as their contracts is up and all that, go right on over there. I would not be surprised by that. So the fact that he's out there, whether it's Tony Khan, AEW, or Billy Corgan, or even MLW, like, he'd be a really, really great asset for them. So it broke my heart to see that, because it just had me think of the TNA LOL days. There was actually a site that was called that. It just had me think about all the stupid crap that used to go down in TNA history, and this is just one of those moves where you're just going, what are these people thinking? Like, seriously. Hey, look, they don't have to answer to us, consumers, wrestling fans, the media. They don't have to answer to us, but they do, at the end of the day, they do need to answer to those men and women that's busting their asses for them, trying to build a brand, trying to build up a brand, trying to rebuild a brand. They do owe those men and women a legit, detailed, sincere explanation. Continuing developing story right there. Now, I just told you guys that apparently AEW had made a new hire. I was going to get into some more of the roster reveal, ratings, and all that, but I'm going to hold off on that until Monday's show. I'm hoping by then we'll know a lot more about the ratings for all the superstars, because it's just continuing to come out in driplets, man. AEW made a new hire in Jennifer Pepperman. She was a recent WWE senior writer. Pepperman made her exit from WWE barely a week ago. And apparently, Tony Khan signed her to a new deal with AEW. Pepperman was the longest tenured female member of the creative team with WWE, being with the company since 2017, as she earned the role of senior writer. But Pepperman's recent exit was voluntary and not an internal choice. Now she would be announced as AEW's new vice president of content development. Tony Khan had this to say in a statement about her being added into mix. Adding Jennifer Pepperman's brilliant mind to the AEW team opens the door for exciting new ideas and will help us build upon the incredible stories currently developing on the road to AEW Revolution across our 3 weekly shows on TBS and TNT. And the effects of Jennifer's arrival in AEW will be felt for many years in the future. We're thrilled to welcome her today, and I look forward to her creativity and collaboration with our team across the board and what will be AEW's biggest year yet and beyond. Let's not also forget that QT Marshall, well, I guess he tested the independent market out there, and not. Something else I want to note about producer and director Jennifer Pepperman. As you've heard me talk here on the show from time to time about soap operas and everything, she worked on soap operas As the World Turns and One Life to Live. So, she worked for those guys also as a writer and producer as well. So a lot of great content that she put out in the times that she was with them. She worked on those respected soap shows for a few years. So this is definitely somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. Now, QT Marshall tried going out there testing the waters of the free agency market, and I guess there were no takers, right? Guess he wasn't able to command whatever salary he was looking for, because in case you missed it, he is now back in AEW. However, he's not back as a on-air talent. He is specifically back in his old position. His old position. So, hey, see what happens. Let's see what freaking happens. Other than that, as far as other little tidbits of news goes, that is pretty much it. You know what I find? Oh, Mongo, Steve McMichael. I knew I was forgetting something. He's set to return home. I think if he's not home today, he's going to be definitely home before the weekend. Remember, he had a extended stay at the hospital due to a variety of health issues, with the very recent one being he had pneumonia and was also found to have MRSA and a urinary tract infection. But it looks like after all that, he's going to be heading on home. So keep that man in your thoughts and prayers. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's going to be going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, if I remember reading that correctly a couple of weeks ago. So if you guys bear with me a second, I'm remembering it right. I didn't even need to look it up. I'm just remembering the participants or the inductees, basically. And yeah, he's officially going to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. About damn time. Yeah, it's a long time coming, quite honestly. So I'm happy that he's going to be getting that nod. I just hope that when it comes to the induction and all that, I just hope that he'll be able to last long enough to actually go in. You feel where I'm coming from? So I hope he's going to be able to make it, right? I'm glad that the man is getting his flowers while he's still alive. That really, really warms my heart. Seriously. All right, let's close out. Let's talk some Elimination Chamber pick'ems here, man. So we did preview the card last week, or rather on Monday's show, I should say. But we didn't go over the winners for the matches. And right now we only got 4 matches. So look, for a pay-per-view that's supposed to be coming on at 5 in the morning, I would suspect that there's going to be some surprises. I know The Rock is saying he's not going to be in Perth, but any and everything can and will happen, right? I would imagine Roman Reigns is maybe going to make some type of a cameo appearance, right? We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But the fact that we've got 4 matches, I mean, we know hands down that the Elimination Chamber matches themselves, that is probably going to take up at least a cool 30, possibly 40 minutes apiece. So when that's all said and done, you're looking at least, I would say 45 minutes apiece. So you're looking at least 90 minutes right there. And then I guess your other two matches, what are those going to go maybe about? Well, I know the Waller Effect segment that's going to be featuring Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. That's probably going to take up about 20 minutes, 25-ish. Then your two remaining matches, maybe one of those goes about 15 minutes. The other one possibly 20 minutes. So there might be one bonus match added. I could see that happening, but their goal needs to be, don't have this be a 4-hour show. There's no reason for this to be a 4-hour show. There's no reason for this to even be a 3.5-hour show. I think 3 hours max suffices, or less than that suffices. Judgment Days, Finn Balor, Damian Priest taking on New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, Tag Team Championship match. I'm going to say that we're going to get new tag team champions. I know Triple H has not given up on Pete Dunne and everything, and I just have a feeling that we're going to see new tag champs get crowned. I have a feeling that Ron the Truth Killings is going to have the last laugh here, or so he thinks. I think there's going to be some shenanigans involved in this one, courtesy of R-Truth. But I'm going to say new tag team champions crown. Becky Lynch taking on Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, Raquel Rodriguez. It's a Elimination Chamber match for a Women's World Championship match at WrestleMania. Liv Morgan just coming back. Tiffany, I love her. She has been making great strides, leaps and bounds of just great improvement. I love how she's coming along. Not her time just yet. Not just yet. Raquel Rodriguez. That'd be interesting, but no, I'm not seeing anything. Naomi. I would not mind Naomi under any other circumstance. Under any other circumstance, I would take Naomi. Not this go round. The two names I'm homing in on the most is Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. Those are the ones I'm homing in on the most. And right now, look, I need to see it come full circle. I guess old man Sanders here is the only one that remembers, but last year, when Bianca Belair was running around as champion, her and Rhea Ripley, she was champion. They were circling around each other, and there was always this idea given to us that eventually we're going to see these girls lock up. So I want to know who is really the baddest bitch on the planet. I want to see these two girls lock up. That is a very fresh, very innovative, just from a creative standpoint, all the fun you can have with that. Man, that is a great story. That is a great freaking story. I would rather see Becky Lynch and Nia Jax face each other at WrestleMania. I would rather see that go down. And look, no disrespect to Nia Jax, but I love how Nia Jax has been so goddamn dominating since she's been back. I mean, she has been messing girls up left and right. I love what's been happening with her. So if anything, I say let Becky Lynch go after Nia Jax in a rematch. Let it go down at WrestleMania. I'm going with Bianca Belair. And not just because she's one of the front cover girls for WWE 2K. Not because of that. I know there's a lot of you guys, well, she is on the front. No. I'm not even thinking about the front cover. I'm just looking at the current trajectory and all of that. Bianca's, for me, is more of the hot hand. I am really not interested in seeing 110-pound Becky Lynch taking on that massive Amazonian built looking woman in Rhea Ripley. Like, it just, just they tried putting them in the ring together a couple of weeks ago, and it didn't scream, I want to see this. I would be more interested in Bianca and Rhea Ripley. So, Bianca Belair for the win. Rhea Ripley taking on Nia Jax, singles match for the World Women's Championship. That should be a damn good match. That should be a nice, good, physical slobber knocker. I'm looking forward to that. I am so looking forward to that. I got my girl Rhea Ripley going over. Despite, all the praise I've been giving to Nia Jax as of late. Y'all know your man Lee, he loves his big girls. And I love that Nia Jax has been doing a really good job in slimming down and everything. As I've been saying from time to time, over and over again, helps out the legs, right? Takes some of that pressure off of the upper body and everything. Like, that's what you want to do, right? It's all about longevity. You want to play for the long haul, rather than let it be all about short term and everything. Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, LA Knight, Kevin Owens, Logan Paul, Elimination Chamber match for World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania. Logan Paul, hardly there. Look, there should be some really cool death-defying stunts that I can see him pulling. I can see him doing some stuff from the top of the top of the cage, without a doubt. I don't see him winning this. Kevin Owens, no. We're talking about who's going to face Seth Rollins, right? I love LA Knight. You know what? I would love for LA Knight. I really, really would love for LA Knight. But I'm looking at Drew McIntyre, and Drew has really been cranking it up like a mofo these past several weeks. He's got the nice white hand that's going right now. And considering everything that's been going on with Drew and CM Punk, I mean, look, what better way for CM Punk to come back when he's 100% healthy than by having CM Punk chase after a world heavyweight champion that is Drew McIntyre. I would freaking love that on so many levels. You feel where I'm coming from? I think I said that wrong. Let me back up a little bit. Again, when CM Punk comes back, nothing I would love more than a world heavyweight champion and Drew McIntyre being that champion that CM Punk chases. So I'm kind of giving you guys a little bit of a WrestleMania preview, if you will, as far as what I think is going to go down with Seth Rollins. But Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, and remember all the shenanigans, all the controversies that has happened with Drew McIntyre trying to win a goddamn championship, right? So here's the thing, though. Is it really going to be Drew McIntyre's time at WrestleMania, or is Damian Priest going to pull some shenanigans? That's the real story. Is Damian Priest going to maybe cash in at WrestleMania? We'll have to wait and see how that all plays out, because it's coming. You know that cash in is coming. Oh, I can't wait for that. I cannot wait for that. But no, I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre. I love Randy Orton. Randy Orton has gotten a bit ice cold, though. He has gotten a bit ice cold. So Drew is the hotter hand to go with right now. So once again, taking it from the top, working our way down, I've got New Catch Republic becoming your new undisputed tag champions. Bianca Belair winning the Elimination Chamber match. Rhea Ripley with the retain. And I'm going with Drew McIntyre for the winner of the men's Elimination Chamber. So that's how we're looking at that. Cast your votes. Finish cashing your votes. Again, go on youtube.com/the RCWR show and let your voices be heard. Again, you have until Friday, February 23rd at 5 p.m. Eastern to cast your vote on if you want me to do a live post show immediately after Chamber ends. Just keep it short and sweet. Like doing maybe an hour. Now, those of you that's voting, if you happen to vote for do a post show, after. Like, don't vote for that, and you're not even going to be around live for the post show. You feel me? Whereas if you know for a fact, hey, Saturday night, 8 p.m., I'm definitely going to be around. I'll be able to check out a post show. Right? So vote accordingly to, when you know for a fact you're going to be available to dip in, hang out, and all that other good stuff. Right? So I'm going to leave that poll up. It's the first thing that you see when you go on the YouTube communities tab there. And I can just imagine the amount of people. I'm sorry for those that we had lost when the stream got interrupted there. That just breaks my heart when that happens. But look, on a good note, at least I cleaned the whatchamacall. So we're good now going forward and everything. We won't have that issue happen again, because y'all know that my Alienware laptop, it's getting a little bit old now. I'm just having screen issues, but from time to time, the fans will come on all of a sudden for just a few seconds, and maybe there'll be a little bit of freezing or whatever for like a few seconds, but it still does pretty damn good. But these days it's just making sure I stay on top of the storage space, and we're good going forward. So we ain't got nothing to worry about for a good minute. All right. So either there's going to be a post show Saturday morning, or we're doing a post show Saturday night while AEW Collision is on. That'll be your next edition of the RCWR show. Shout out to friends of the show. Shout out to Julian Cannon. Shout out to Wrestling Soup. And shout out to our sponsors. There's actually a couple of new sponsors that I'm going to be working with. It's ready to go. I just got to sit down, look at the ad scripts and all that, and get all of that down. But we're going to be working with them very, very shortly. So I'm very excited for that. Remember, support the show. Leave those reviews, ratings for the show on iTunes, Spotify. Really helps us out a ton. If you have Facebook, kindly leave a rating and review. We've been bombarded with spam accounts that's been leaving bogus negative ratings. I told you guys about it on the last show. It's ridiculous what's going on with the Facebook bots. They pretend to be these accounts letting you know there's like these weird copyright issues. So like you'll see, for example, blah, 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 a Facebook community manager recommends the RCWR show. And you're like, what the hell is this about? And then when you go to see, what's being said, you see this stupid little message that says, we've warned you about, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, what the hell? And then when you try to click on whatever URL that they give you, basically it's a freaking virus. So, yeah, be on your P's and Q's when it comes to that. So, yeah, if you got Facebook, definitely help us out. Anybody that leaves a rating and review, I'll definitely give you guys a shout out next time we're on the air and everything. No doubt. No doubt. What else? Be kind, rewind. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the RCWR show. Get at your man on X, Facebook, YouTube. Use the keywords the RCWR show. And until next go round, my pretty babies, I'm wishing all of you all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you all next go round. Take care, y'all. Peace.
Thanks for listening. An Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive.